This week we look at number 11 in our series on the book of Psalms. This one's entitled Longing for God in Zion. And my question to you is that really your great longing? Is that what you pray for? Is that what you really want? Is that really what you're hoping for? What you really desire the most? To be there with God. And we have those texts in Psalms and also in Revelation, that whole perspective of being finally home with God. I happen to be at Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, and I'm longing to be home. That's my great objective. That's where I want to be. That's where I'm going to. And I direct all my energy towards that, making sure I've got my passport, making sure that the ticket is correct, making sure I'm on the right plane, and so on. Are we doing that kind of thing in terms of our journey to God and thinking about what it will be like when we're forever at home with Him? Read again Revelation 21 verse 3. I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, now God's home is with human beings, and He will live with them. They will be His people. God Himself will be with them as their God. That is the great Christian hope, to be home forever with the Lord. Psalm 84 talks about longing for God in Zion. Psalm 122 and 125 are songs for pilgrims going up to Jerusalem, thinking of what it would be like. For them, Jerusalem was the great objective. Going to Jerusalem, where the temple was, going to be with God, as it were. Psalm 46 talks about God's holy city, Jerusalem, and His presence there. I put in the notes for this time some quotes which I think might be helpful, thinking about this kind of longing. There's one by A.W. Tozer saying, I want to deliberately encourage this mighty longing after God. The lack of it has brought us to our present low estate. The stiff and wooden quality about our religious lives is a result of our lack of holy desire. We just keep on going through the routine, we live our lives, but are we really keen? Maybe I could say it that way. Are we keen to be with God? And that, of course, reflects back on our picture of God. If we're not really convinced about the person of God, what He's really like, do we really want to be there with Him? Do we really want to spend eternity in His presence? Those are some questions that we certainly need to think about, because otherwise we're kind of putting off this thing and saying, okay, I'm going to live here and live it and do all these things, and I'm going to occupy myself with my career and with my family and all the other things, but not really thinking about the final end and the absolute, what could you call it, objective, the consummation of all our desires. I often tell people that this is not the flight. This is the departure lounge here. We're not actually on the plane flying through the air yet in our lives. It's the departure lounge when we are preparing, thinking about what it will be like when we're going home to God, when we are in flight. 1 Thessalonians 4 says we will meet the Lord in the air, and that to me is a very exciting prospect, to meet the Lord there in the end, and we are caught up together with all the saints of all the ages to be home with Him. And then New Jerusalem, talk about Jerusalem here in the Psalms, but then New Jerusalem descends from heaven, and that is where we're going to spend eternity. What a wonderful thought. But do you really want to be there? Is that your primary objective in life? We all need to answer those kinds of questions, and as you do so this particular week, I encourage you to really search your soul to say, what am I really thinking about as I live my life, what do I really want? Where do I want to be? God bless you.